Let's begin with a question. When you think of iconic Western actors, those rugged, gravelly-voiced presences who could command the screen with a mere squint, do you immediately picture John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, or maybe James Stewart? Well, here's a name you should never forget: Richard Boone. Known for his distinctively authoritative voice and piercing stare, Boone forged an unforgettable path in Hollywood that spanned decades. He wasn't just a one-note cowboy villain or hero. He brought refined, nuanced performances to whatever role he tackled. From stage-trained actor to a major television star, he had a knack for electrifying audiences with his complex portrayals, especially in westerns. Boone's body of work is a masterclass in how an actor can transition from big screen to small screen and back again, all while leaving an indelible mark. Curious about which of his performances you absolutely need to see? Today, we're counting down the top 10 best Richard Boone movies. Get comfortable because these recommendations are guaranteed to spark your love for classic cinema, or, if you're already a fan, to reaffirm why Boone was such a formidable presence in film history. Ready for some rugged adventures, thrilling showdowns, and unforgettable roles? Let's dive right in. Released in 1975, this film tells the story of a young man setting out to rescue his kidnapped sister from a band of Native Americans. While the central plot focuses on the younger protagonist, Richard Boone steps in as a grizzled prospector whose world-weary outlook provides a sobering counterpoint to the hero's innocence. Boone's role here isn't front and center, but he delivers a layered performance that adds depth and gravity to the entire film. The rugged landscapes are breathtaking, the tension is thick, and Boone's character is a vital piece of the puzzle, both mentor and cautionary tale. Many fans were surprised that a family-friendly Western could hold such dramatic weight. Yet Boone's presence alone makes it memorable. The film is something of a hidden gem, blending adventure, drama, and moral lessons against harsh desert terrain. If you've always enjoyed Westerns but want a fresher take, perhaps one that encompasses youthful determination, family ties, and a tinge of spiritual reflection, Against a Crooked Sky won't disappoint. Did you know that Boone's role as a gruff guide is often cited by fans as one of his most understated yet impactful? It's a testament to his talent that even with limited screen time, he still shines. Next up, we have God's Gun, a 1976 spaghetti western that might best be described as double the trouble, double the fun. Why? Because this film stars not only the legendary Lee Van Cleef in dual roles, but also features Richard Boone as one of the most vicious villains of the genre. The story revolves around a priest and a gunslinger, both played by Van Cleef, standing up to a ruthless band of outlaws terrorizing a small town. Yet it's Boone's menacing presence as the ringleader that injects the film with tension and unpredictability. Did you know that Boone's ability to convey cold-blooded menace with the slightest gesture made him a sought-after actor for villainous roles? His gritty facial expressions could convey volumes without a single word. Fans of classic Western tropes, showdowns at high noon, moral lines drawn in the sand, and the eternal question of whether redemption is possible, will find plenty to love in God's Gun. While the film embraces many classic Western elements, Boone's portrayal stands out for its unabashed cruelty. He's the kind of bad guy you love to hate, commanding every scene he's in. Spaghetti Western connoisseurs note that God's Gun helped solidify Boone's reputation as a prime antagonist when needed. If you're a fan of raw, pulpy Western action featuring actors who wore grit and determination on their sleeves, this flick is a must. Are you a fan of espionage and shadowy government secrets? Then shift your focus from the dusty trails of the frontier to the murky backrooms of global intrigue with The Kremlin Letter, released in 1970. Directed by John Huston, This movie plunges viewers into a labyrinth of spies, double-crossings, and hidden agendas during the Cold War. In a distinct departure from his usual Western persona, Boone plays a key member of a covert team tasked with recovering a dangerous letter. Here, the moral landscape is as bleak as any deserted prairie, and the tension stems not from drawn six-shooters, but from cryptic conversations and simmering deceit. Many fans were amazed to discover Boone's versatility in a genre far removed from saloon brawls and horse chases. Did you know that he drew from his own stage acting background to deliver a nuanced performance brimming with understated intensity? The film's dark, twisty tone and hard-boiled realism make for a riveting watch, particularly for those who are used to seeing Boone saddle up in the Old West. The question is, do you think he's more intimidating as a frontier baddie or a government operative? Give the Kremlin letter a go and find out. If you appreciate a film that keeps you guessing until the end while showcasing a star-studded cast, including Orson Welles and B.B. Anderson, then this is one you shouldn't miss. What if we uprooted the cowboy mythos from scorching deserts and plunked it down on a tropical island? In KONA, a 1968 movie adapted from John D. MacDonald's novel, Boone portrays Sam Moran, a charter boat captain who investigates the death of someone close to him. In a sense, it's a Western storyline transplanted onto Hawaiian shores. Revenge, justice, and moral dilemmas swirl amid palm trees and rolling waves. Talk about a change of scenery. Have you ever thought about how a skilled actor can maintain the essence of a cowboy even without the dusty boots and tumbleweeds? Boone achieves exactly that here. He remains the tough, honorable man forced to confront savage underworld elements in an exotic paradise. The film brings an interesting layer to Boone's oeuvre. Fans who know him mostly as that intense cowboy will be surprised to see him using his gritty persona to navigate Hawaiian nightlife, shady bar owners, and sun-soaked beaches. KONA might not be as widely recognized as some of his other films, but it holds its own as a compelling detective-style story, showcasing Boone's unmatched ability to command the screen no matter the setting. If you're looking for something off the beaten path, yet anchored by that same rugged charm, this is definitely one to check out. Who says you can't enjoy a little tropical flair in your Western-inspired thrillers? Now, let's get back in the saddle, literally, for Big Jake, a 1971 Western starring none other than John Wayne. But did you know that Richard Boone plays a major role in this movie, shining just as brightly as the Duke himself? Big Jake opens with a brutal kidnapping that forces Wayne's character, Jacob McCandles, out of his self-imposed retirement. Boone steps in as John Fane, the cunning and cold leader of the kidnappers. Many fans marvel at the chemistry between Boone and Wayne. They're both larger-than-life figures, each with a commanding screen presence. The dynamic between them is electric. Boone's John Fane isn't a typical mustache-twirling villain. Instead, he's a complex adversary who shares a begrudging respect with McCandles. It's an interesting reminder that sometimes your worst enemy can also be someone you acknowledge as a worthy rival. Have you ever noticed how some of the best Western showdowns are actually battles of wits as much as of gunslinging? In Big Jake, the tension escalates to a fever pitch thanks to Boone's ability to portray intelligence, ruthlessness, and even a hint of dark humor. The film became a box-office success and, to this day, is often cited as a late-period Western classic for Wayne. Meanwhile, Boone's portrayal is singled out as a scene stealer. It's no wonder that Big Jake consistently ranks high on lists of must-see Westerns for fans of both Wayne and Boone. If you haven't watched it yet, saddle up. This one's pure cinematic gold. It's not every day you get to see Richard Boone face off against Paul Newman in one of the grittiest Western dramas of the 1960s. Hombre! released in 1967, is a tense, character-driven story of a stagecoach held hostage by outlaws, with Newman playing John Russell, an Apache-raised white man forced to confront hypocrisy and racism among his fellow passengers. Boone appears as Cicero Grimes, a smooth-talking yet sinister figure who's all too willing to exploit vulnerability. Have you ever thought about how a single performance can elevate a film from interesting to outstanding? That's Boone in Hombre. He's sly and charismatic, which heightens the danger he represents. It's a complex villain role that reveals how prejudice and desperation can twist people into terrifying shapes. The film resonates with social commentary still relevant today, but it's the skillful interplay between Newman's stoicism and Boone's manipulative cunning that anchors the movie. Audiences were amazed at the tension generated whenever these two shared the screen. Critical acclaim followed, with many reviewers praising Boone for infusing his role with a chilling mixture of politeness and brutality. If you're curious about a film that's equal parts introspective drama and claustrophobic Western thriller, Hombre delivers in spades. Give it a watch, and you'll understand why many fans rank it among both Paul Newman's and Richard Boone's best. Blood-soaked revenge, moral ambiguity, and a band of unlikely allies. That's Rio Conchos in a nutshell. Released in 1964, this Western sees Richard Boone cast as Jim Lassiter, a former Confederate officer hell-bent on avenging the murder of his family by Apaches. Lassiter's grief and rage propel the plot, and Boone's performance is nothing short of riveting. This is a role that underscores Boone's incredible ability to convey tragic gravitas while still serving up explosive action. The film brims with tension, especially as Lassiter teams up with a Union officer, a Mexican bandit, and a Buffalo soldier. Can you imagine four men with wildly different backgrounds navigating the desert in search of firearms smugglers? It's a pressure cooker, and Boone's character is at the emotional core of it all. Many fans consider Rio Conchos a hidden gem, an unrelentingly tough Western that doesn't shy away from delving into the darker side of frontier life. Did you know that director Gordon Douglas highlighted Boone's intense screen presence by often focusing the camera on his fierce expressions during pivotal scenes? The result is a performance that practically crackles with unresolved pain and bitterness. If gritty westerns with morally complex anti-heroes are your thing, then Rio Conchos is absolutely worth your time. It's a stark reminder of how vengeance can consume even the strongest among us. Shift gears for a moment to the medieval setting of The Warlord, a 1965 historical drama starring Charlton Heston and, of course, Richard Boone. While it might seem like a departure from Boone's typical Western oeuvre, his role here demonstrates the breadth of his acting chops. The film unfolds in Normandy during the 11th century, focusing on Heston's character, Chrysagon, who is assigned to protect a small village, only to be caught in political machinations and personal conflicts. Boone plays Chrysagon's loyal right-hand man, Bors, providing a steady moral anchor and crucial support in battles both physical and emotional. Boone's commanding gravitas suits the medieval realm perfectly. He brings the same fierce integrity and unwavering toughness we've come to admire in his cowboy roles, but now it's channeled through a knightly sense of loyalty. The result is a layered portrayal that underscores his range as an actor. Historically rich sets, epic battle scenes, and philosophical musings on power, duty, and faith all converge in The Warlord, making it a standout among mid-1960s historical epics. If you're a fan of medieval drama tinged with moral complexity, you'll be enthralled. Boone's Bors isn't just a sidekick, he's part of the moral fabric that holds the film together, often challenging Chrysagon's decisions and revealing the human cost of feudal power struggles. It's a stirring watch for anyone who appreciates an actor who can adapt to multiple eras with ease. We can't talk about Richard Boone without celebrating his iconic television role in Have Gun, Will Travel. Yes, it's technically a TV series and not a single film, but its influence on Boone's career and on the Western genre at large is too immense to ignore. Running from 1957 to 1963, the show features Boone as Paladin, a gentleman gunslinger for hire who operates out of a posh hotel in San Francisco. Have you ever thought about how unusual it was for a Western hero to wear a black outfit, quote classical literature, and solve problems with both intellect and firepower? Paladin was that anomaly, sophisticated, polite, and lethal when necessary. In an era when most TV westerns followed a straightforward good guy versus bad guy formula, Have Gun, Will Travel stood out for its moral ambiguity and episodic depth. This gave Boone the chance to showcase his range as an actor. One week, Paladin might be mediating a land dispute. The next, he might be battling bandits. Through it all, Boone's refined portrayal added a touch of class to the Western landscape. Fans at the time wrote letters by the bagful, enamored by Paladin's cultivated manners and unwavering sense of justice. The series was a blockbuster success, catapulting Boone into national stardom. It's no exaggeration to say that many subsequent Western TV characters owe a nod to Paladin's complex, layered approach. If you're new to Richard Boone, Have Gun, Will Travel is an essential piece of his legacy. Even decades later, it remains fresh, riveting, and downright cool. Finally, we arrive at The Tall T, a film often hailed as one of the greatest westerns ever made, due in no small part to Richard Boone's chilling turn as the intellectual outlaw Frank Usher. Directed by Bud Boetticher and starring Randolph Scott, the movie is a masterclass in tension, storytelling economy, and psychological depth. The plot unfolds after a stagecoach is hijacked by a band of outlaws led by Boone's character, who holds the passengers hostage in a remote hideout. What makes Frank Usher so captivating? Unlike many caricatured Western villains, Usher exhibits a troubling humanity. He's neither purely evil nor wholly sympathetic. Instead, he's a man shaped by desperation and regret. Have you ever come across a villain who's frightening not for what he does, but for how calmly and rationally he does it? That's Boone's Usher, sharp-witted, quietly menacing, and occasionally hinting at a moral code. This layered performance contrasts brilliantly with Randolph Scott's unwavering morality, leading to confrontations that crackle with psychological suspense. Critics and audiences alike praised Boone's performance as a standout in an era brimming with Western flicks. In many ways, The Tall T encapsulates everything that made 1950s Westerns so compelling. Gritty landscapes, simple yet powerful storytelling, and an undercurrent of philosophical inquiry about good, evil, and survival. If there's any single Richard Boone role that cements his status as a Western legend, it's Frank Usher. To watch it is to witness a titan of the genre at the peak of his powers. And there you have it. 10 riveting journeys through deserts, medieval strongholds, tropical islands, and beyond, all guided by the force of Richard Boone's incredible talent. From minor but impactful roles that add color to family-friendly adventures to chilling villainous turns that give seasoned heroes a run for their money, Boone's filmography is both diverse and consistently gripping. He wasn't merely an actor who dressed up in cowboy hats and boots. He brought a level of gravitas and intelligence that elevated every Western he touched. Even when exploring different genres, like spy thrillers or medieval epics, he showcased a flexibility and command that left a lasting impression on audiences and co-stars alike. Boone's characters were often shaped by internal conflicts and moral gray areas, making them more than just one-dimensional gunslingers or mustache-twirling baddies. His ability to slip into the skin of a complex villain or flawed hero cemented him as one of Hollywood's most respected, if sometimes underrated, legends. Whether you're a die-hard Western aficionado, a newcomer to classic cinema, or simply a fan of gripping storytelling, these films deserve a spot on your must-watch list. They paint a portrait of an actor whose style, presence, and magnetism remain timeless, a portrait that still resonates today in the grand tapestry of cinematic history. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into Richard Boone's top 10 films, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which movie on the list is your favorite, and are there other Boone gems we missed? Be sure to let us know so we can keep the conversation going. And if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button to stay on top of all our exciting movie countdowns and discussions. Don't miss out on more classic Hollywood spotlights, hidden gems, and all-around fun film content headed your way soon. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep exploring the magic of the movies.